Ducky Bhai, whose real name is Saad Rehman, began his journey on the internet as a young Pakistani content creator who loved gaming, roasting, and comedy. He started with simple gameplay videos and roasting content recorded from his bedroom with very basic equipment, but his style, voice, and confidence quickly attracted viewers. Over time, he became one of Pakistan's biggest YouTubers, building a massive fan base and earning millions of subscribers. His channel evolved from roasting and gaming to vlogs, lifestyle content, and collaborations with other major influencers. As his popularity grew, so did his earnings, brand deals, and visibility. He became a recognizable name in Pakistan's digital industry and a powerful voice on social media. However, along with fame came controversies, criticism, and eventually a legal case that shook the entire online community and brought him into the center of national discussion. The case against Saad Rehman began when the National Cybercrime Investigation Agency, known as NCCIA, started looking into a series of online financial scams in unregulated digital platforms. According to the authorities, several gambling and trading applications were allegedly being promoted by different influencers without proper authorization from Pakistan's financial regulators. These apps, which included well-known names like Bunamo, 1xBet, Bet365, B9 Game, and other similar platforms, were linked to financial losses experienced by ordinary users. In their investigation, the agency claimed that Ducky Bhai had promoted some of these platforms in past videos, and their accusations stated that the promotions were misleading, unauthorized, and fell under cybercrime violations. After weeks of internal investigation, the agency registered a formal complaint accusing him of electronic fraud, electronic forgery, spamming, spoofing, cheating, and promoting illegal online gambling systems. The FIR also included charges under the Prevention of Electronic Crimes Act and certain sections of the Pakistan Penal Code related to financial deception. In the FIR, investigators claimed that Ducky Bhai acted as a representative or promoter of some of these apps, and that users who trusted his influence suffered financial losses. The videos mentioned in the FIR were said to contain links and encouragement to use certain platforms that were not licensed by Pakistani authorities. Whether or not the financial harm was proven, the allegations were enough for the cybercrime agency to take action, on a day that shocked fans and fellow influencers. Saad Rehman was detained at Lahore Airport when he attempted to travel abroad. His name had been added to the Provisional National Identification List (PNIL), which prevented him from leaving the country. Officers from the NCCIA arrested him, seized his phone, and took him into custody for interrogation. The incident spread across social media instantly, with his fans demanding answers and others questioning how deep the investigation would go. Within hours, news channels began discussing his arrest, with some siding with him and others raising concerns about influencer accountability. After his arrest, the Lahore court granted the cybercrime agency a short physical remand to investigate further and examine his digital devices, message history, and financial records. His family, however, experienced severe emotional distress as the situation escalated. His wife, Aroob Jatoi, became the focal point of public attention. She appeared visibly distressed in videos and statements she released online, explaining how difficult the situation had become for her and the family. She said that the pressure, the fear, and the uncertainty of the future had created unbearable emotional strain. She also claimed that some officers involved in the case were abusive, threatening, and corrupt. According to her complaint later filed with the police, several NCCIA officials allegedly misused their authority during the investigation. She alleged that some officers demanded money, pressured the family, and violated legal boundaries. Her FIR against 9 officers detailed accusations of torture, wrongful influence, and corruption. This FIR created massive shockwaves in the cybercrime department. It led to internal conflict within the agency, and eventually several officers, 7 in total, submitted their resignations as the corruption allegations gained strength. Suddenly the case was no longer only about Ducky Bhai's alleged promotion of gambling apps but also about misconduct inside the very agency investigating him. Supporters of Ducky Bhai argued online that he was being targeted unfairly. They claimed that most influencers in Pakistan had promoted similar apps in the past, and only he was being singled out due to his fame and outspoken personality. Others said that even if he promoted those apps earlier in his career, the arrest was unnecessarily harsh, especially given that his involvement might have been limited to standard sponsorship deals. Critics, however, argued that influencers should be held responsible when their promotions harm ordinary people financially. Both sides debated extensively on social media platforms, making the case one of the biggest influencer-related scandals Pakistan had seen. As days passed, his wife continued posting emotional messages, explaining how she was trying to manage the legal pressure, media attention, and emotional trauma. She described sleepless nights, constant stress, and the fear that her husband might be mistreated in custody. She also explained how difficult it was dealing with legal paperwork, lawyers, court hearings, and the negativity spread across the internet. The situation became even more complicated as some officers named in her FIR were also arrested, which suggested that her claims were being taken seriously. Slowly the case reached the Lahore High Court, where Ducky Bhai's legal team argued that the allegations were exaggerated. The arrest was unjustified, and the agency had mishandled the investigation. They claimed that many apps he promoted were sponsored through legitimate influencer contracts that hundreds of creators worldwide had participated in. They also pointed out that his wife's FIR exposed major flaws in the way the case was handled. After reviewing the situation, the Lahore High Court decided that the evidence presented by the cybercrime agency was not strong enough to justify continued detention. The court declared that the arrest and remand were based on shaky grounds and that Saad Rehman had the right to be free while the case proceeded. The Lahore High Court granted him bail and ordered his immediate release. As soon as the news broke, social media exploded with reactions. His fans celebrated, expressing relief that he was finally coming home. His wife, after enduring weeks of fear and emotional pressure, broke down in tears of relief. Videos of her crying and thanking supporters went viral. Family members, close friends, and fellow YouTubers welcomed him back, describing how difficult the entire ordeal had been. His release did not instantly solve all legal issues, as the investigation would still continue. But the court's decision restored his freedom and gave him the opportunity to rebuild his life and reputation. Many supporters said this was not just a win for him, but also a moment that exposed problems within law enforcement agencies. They argued that the case revealed how powerful institutions can sometimes misuse authority or act without proper checks and balances. Others said the situation should serve as a wake-up call for influencers to be more responsible with promotions, especially those involving financial risk. After returning home, Ducky Bhai addressed his audience, expressing gratitude to his fans, family, lawyers, and everyone who stood by him. He described the arrest as a traumatic experience, but said he believed the truth would eventually clear his name. His wife also expressed relief but continued to emphasize the emotional and psychological damage the case caused. She shared how helpless she felt while handling legal battles alone, how worried she was about his safety, and how the stress affected her health. She described the long nights, the pressure from the media, and the fear that things might go horribly wrong. The entire episode became a defining moment in his career, marking one of the most challenging periods of his life. It exposed the complexities of digital influence, the risks of online sponsorships, the role of cybercrime agencies, and the emotional toll legal battles take on families. What began as a routine influencer sponsorship years ago turned into a high-profile national case involving accusations, corruption allegations, court hearings, and resignations within a government department. But with the Lahore High Court granting him bail and ordering his release, he regained not only his freedom, but also the chance to defend himself properly, resume his work, and tell his side of the story without fear.